We are now into the final 3 episodes of Season 1 of The Last of Us, and with episode 7 it was for the most part a flashback episode. The events which take place here are based upon the downloadable content, the DLC for the game called Left Behind, which is the name of the episode. This extra content came out 1 year after the game's original release, and it's quite fascinating to see online that a lot of people have not actually played this before, and I'm in the same boat, I've never played it either, so let me know down in the comments, have you played this DLC before? In regards to the episode though, it's bookended by present day storyline with Joel being injured and telling Ellie that she should go on without him at the start, but then at the end of the episode, Ellie does find a needle and thread and decides to try and sew him back up, and that does look pretty painful, I'll tell you that. Diving into the flashback now, and it starts with Ellie jogging through gym class and she gets into a fight with a girl called Bethany. Because of that, Ellie has to go and see Captain Kwong, and not for the first time as well, and he tries to get through to Ellie about her options and advise her on her future. During the night while Ellie is asleep, Riley returns and Riley puts her hand over Ellie's mouth and gives her quite a fright to wake her up. Riley reveals to Ellie that she's now a Firefly and also tells her that she wants to take her somewhere where she can give her the night of her life, and so with that we've got an episode here which consists of basically a date night. And the place in question is an abandoned mall, and I gotta say I do love this choice of setting. I've seen it in things like the Dead Rising video game. It just gives creators so many different options. Like for example, we got that escalator scene with Ellie, which I'm sure would have reminded a lot of people of that scene from Elf where he's also trying out an escalator for the first time. As Riley shows Ellie the wonders of the mall, that pure fascination on Ellie's face was brilliantly captured by Bella Ramsey. But even with all the lights and glamour on show, the thing which fascinated Ellie the most is actually Riley herself. And for many of you who have been on dates before, I'm sure you can relate to Ellie's approach here, where you're not exactly always sure when to make the move, you're checking yourself out in reflections where you can find them. Like for example, sometimes I've done that with car windows, and usually it's okay, but sometimes you get like a dog looking back at you. Moving on through the episode, we get to an arcade, and the joy on Ellie and Riley's faces here was absolutely infectious, and you can't blame them. Like, having an arcade to yourself, that sounds pretty fun. And it was a nice moment for the gaming industry as a whole to see characters play a game within a TV adaptation of another game. It really does show how far everything's come. Riley shows Ellie the carousel and the photo booth, and there's some sweet moments here between the two of them, and it's helped by these two actors being very good with each other as well. Like Storm Reid, who plays Riley, she's fantastic. She was great in the film Missing, which came out a few weeks ago. If you haven't seen that, definitely check out my reaction, which I'll link above. While they're playing in the arcade, they do wake up an infected in another store who comes into the episode later on to attack them both. But before that, they do have a fallout. While they're reading puns together, Ellie finds some explosives and thinks that Riley's just doing all this to recruit her, but instead we find out that Riley's actually leaving and wants to give Ellie one last special night. Ellie does storm off, but she does return and meets up with Riley in a Halloween shop where they put on some masks and they dance on top of the counter, and that all leads up to a kiss between them. And I thought this was a really good scene here for Bella Ramsey in particular, when she says that she doesn't want Riley to go. That really does show Ellie with her shields down and also being very vulnerable, which is something quite rare for Ellie, so it really does show what Riley means to her. But this is The Last of Us, so when we have something happy, it is going to be followed soon by something very sad, and we do get that with Riley and Ellie both being attacked by the infected, and they both get left with a mark. Ellie smashes up the place in anger while Riley sits there quietly, contemplating her options, which she does later read off to Ellie, and it is a sad scene and one which is concluded with Riley holding Ellie in her arms. At this point of the episode, it does cut between flashback and present day, and it does show what this experience has done for Ellie in terms of not wanting to lose another person she loves, and that's why she goes down to save Joel. And with that comes the end of the episode, and for me this did a good job of filling in some gaps for Ellie, especially as with episode 1 it was about Joel for the most part, and so with this it was sort of gives Bella Ramsey an opportunity to showcase her talent, and also for Ellie to have that sort of rounding off in terms of character. But I must say I'm a bit concerned about how they're going to squeeze in the remainder of that first game into these last 2 episodes, and with that, this episode here, it was a breather again from the main storyline, and I feel like if anything, it has damaged momentum. And I think at this stage of the season, it would have been better to keep that going strong. But, this is still a sweet episode, but I think, overall, it is one of the weaker ones. Next week, though, we are going to meet David, and also Troy Baker is going to be making his appearance as well in the show. And who knows, we might even get this scene. Don't die. Shit. Oh, well, dinner's served. But yeah, do you agree with my thoughts on this episode, or do you think differently? Let me know in the comments below. And from TLOU to the MCU, on screen right now is our review for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.